We're live. What's up, Andrew?
Is that one on? Check.
You're live, buddy.
We're live. What's going on, dude? Welcome to my podcast.
Your podcast, yeah. Hey, guys, this is Trey with the Fredericksburg Regional Chamber of Commerce. And Next Gen, we are doing our monthly podcast series with Andrew today. Andrew Burlingame of the Upchurch Event Co.
That's right. Dude, what's the podcast called?
Oh, we just Next Gen Podcast, man.
Okay, Next Gen Podcast. Welcome to Next Gen Podcast. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. So Andrew is the entrepreneur, and the founder, president, CEO of, not a C Corp yet, of Upchurch Event Co. He was one of our Young Professionals of the Month. I believe it was October. And as well, afterwards, we then invited him to be a part of our advisory council for Next Gen. So today we're talking about a couple different things. We have our upcoming Soiree, which Andrew will be providing entertainment at.
Yeah.
You'll be our DJ and doing a couple other things. As well, we're mostly going to spend a lot of time getting to know Andrew and how he got to where he is now as a business owner.
So, spoiler alert, Trey and I, for those who don't know, we live together and we've been friends since
2018.
2018, you had just finished, graduated from JMU and then moved next door. And I had a lot of followers ask you to tell the story of how we met.
A lot of food, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people, they said, can we please dig into that?
Didn't know
they need the lore.
I didn't know this was a huge thing.
So
okay. It is a good story.
Yeah. Who's going to tell it?
I'll tell it.
Okay.
I'll tell it. So, both of us can tell it, So I was moving in next door to Andrew. I didn't know that and didn't know him. Me and my mother, who's 5'2" and 107 pounds.
That's a crucial detail.
Yeah. We're carrying a big old TV out of my car into the house I was moving into. Andrew was jogging and saw us. You can take it from there.
Yeah. I just stepped out of my house to go on a run on the good old canal path. And then I started to run past and then I kind of felt bad because I saw the 105-pound woman struggling, right?
It was a big TV. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a huge TV.
I stopped.
It was like a 70-inch.
I said, hey, do you need any help? And so then she said, yes. And then we carry up the TV and then
3 flights of stairs.
3 flights of stairs, get to the top floor. And then what happened next?
Oh yeah. So I was playing for my family, a local Fredericksburg band, Virginia man. And Andrew was apparently in that band, on the blue, and he heard that through the Bluetooth speaker. I can't remember exactly what you said. Was it like, who put this on?
Yeah,
right?
I was like, or I said like, hey, how do you know this band? And you're like, oh, I heard these are some cool local dudes from Fredericksburg. And then I was just like, yeah, I wrote that song.
Yeah, it was your song too.
Yeah,
that was hilarious. Yeah, like what are the odds? And then we just were friends, I guess. But yeah, it was funny just because you were running, saw us struggling with the TV. Of course, your band's on. We went up to
fun stuff. And then we became friends and have known each other for about 6 years now, which is cool. But for the intro of this podcast, we decided that we're going to pretend like we don't know each other and kind of do some intros, right?
Yes. So I'm interviewing him. So I know a lot of the answers to these questions, but you don't. So I'm in it for my viewers. Like, you guys need to figure out who this dude is. So I'm going to, I had a podcast once where I had to ask what our interest rates. I knew what those were.
Sure.
I'm not an idiot. I know what interest rates are. But I did want to ask a bank.
Asking for a friend.
Yeah, totally asking for a friend.
Yeah.
I do find that I'm going to guess that I will find out a lot about you that I didn't know through this podcast, though.
Let's do it. I did say before we jump in, we got to do what's in the cup. So what's in that one right there?
In my cup is water.
Dude, I didn't realize that was a Funland bottle. That's kind of sick.
Yeah, so it is a Funland bottle. They're one of our members. We did our cornhole tournament there.
Yeah.
Which Andrew also helped DJ and provide some entertainment at. So, water, exciting. What's in your cup, Andrew?
This one right here is a pretty good mug. I'm a little bit ashamed, though, because I'm loyal to Acorn Pottery, who is a local business owner, and my small group leader, who makes better mugs. So I just didn't grab the right one. But inside the cup, I'm now into chai tea, thanks to TikTok. I just found this guy that I love that shares life stories while he's making the tea, and it's just like really therapeutic. And I've just learned a lot. And
That's
then
cool.
I was like, you know what? I'm going to learn how to make chai.
Yeah.
So
And I know it's not ASMR, but I've noticed after that big trend of ASMR in like 2018 or whenever,
Yeah.
afterwards there's a lot more videos that are very calming, similar to it. They're not ASMR at all, but they have that like calming vibe to it.
Yeah, they're
Story
just
times.
like follow me as I cook or clean and tell a story or talk about something. And yeah, it's kind of cool.
And you're the one that told me this, the trivia fact about chai tea and the linguistics behind it.
How chai means tea?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're just saying tea, but what language does it come from?
I don't know. I think it's from India, but chai, I don't know. I've no idea.
Me neither. So if you're watching this podcast, comment below what language is chai in. But yeah, so if you're saying chai tea, you're just saying tea.
Yeah.
It's like Los Angeles Angels.
Oh. Yep, I wish there was more in my cup. We're almost to the bottom.
But. Yeah, and I wish I had something more exciting to share than water. So let's get to the bottom of you and the Upchurch Event Co. and how y'all started and kind of your career. So you were one of our Young Professionals of the Month. We know there's a big story about that. We chose you because you're an entrepreneur. There are not a ton of young entrepreneurs in this area. I can definitely name a bunch more, but there's not that many. So to get to where you were, there had to be a lot of steps along the way that you had to take. So I'm just curious, our viewers are curious, kind of where you started. So we can just say real quick, tell us what your company is, make that obvious, and then I'll ask a couple questions about how you got there.
Yep. So I am the owner of the Upchurch Event Company. And that's basically a DJ / entertainment business. It started like definitely just DJing, and it was very part-time. And mainly what we do is obviously weddings, but we do any kind of parties or events. But as time passes and we're scaling, we're getting into event production. We're just adding other services of photo booth and considering even like event coordination. And so that's just the start, and we're kind of scaling from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually, for our viewers, I help Andrew from time to time and contract with him, and know a lot about the industry now because of that. And I think it's such a fun gig you get to do.
Yeah.
Your job literally is just like you're hosting parties sometimes. It's just fun. The term DJ, whenever I'm contracted for you and talk with clients and brides, they're curious about like what I do. Tell us exactly to you what it means, the term, the definition, DJ.
Yeah, so, I mean, it just stands for disc jockey, which is someone who literally spins discs. But that's not usually what my job is. So I would say most of my work, again, is weddings, so DJing weddings. And if you're talking about what do I do as a wedding DJ, there's a lot. I joke and I introduce myself as a party captain sometimes at events because that's honestly probably the best description of
your
what
style too.
Yeah, my style, but also just what we do. Our main job is to just make the party happen and bring it to life.
Yeah.
And part of that is DJing, but part of it is just being a hype MC. Yeah, I think just telling people what to do, where to go, and setting the energy, for
feeling
the
event, crowd,
feeling the event. Yeah, it's not that much about the music as far as like mixing and like spinning discs like it used to be. I think that used to be more the term. It's more just like knowing what music to play and how to, bring the energy out of a crowd.
Yeah. And how to transition those songs.
Yeah. There's some people, technical stuff.
Right, and getting the effects. Like what I like about you is you don't get too heavy into, because like some people hear DJ and they're thinking like, like clubs or David Guetta, or they're thinking, like you said, like an actual disc jockey. Whereas you pride yourself like being a party captain, feeling the energy and just making sure they have the best experience.
Yeah, and kind of what I also mean by that is when I first started like 2-ish years ago, maybe 3 now, I did not know how to mix or DJ. I didn't have any equipment. I literally just borrowed a friend of mine. He just kind of gave me some speakers and a cheap mixer and said good luck at a wedding.
Is that your first gig?
That was my first wedding, and the only other gig I had before that was this graduation party on someone's back porch. It was like the chillest thing and no pressure at all. So I had that under my belt, and besides that, he said, okay, I trust you. Here's a wedding. And I did not know how to DJ at that point, and so all I had, and I didn't have the equipment to DJ even if I wanted to, so all I had was 2 laptops. One was a personal, one was a work computer from a different job, unrelated. and I had 2 accounts on Spotify, and I would just fade the music down from one, fade the music up on the other, and that was my transition. So when you say like, what is a DJ? Even though I technically wasn't mixing like a DJ should, I was still being a party captain because I brought good music and good vibes.
And the crowd had a good time, you know?
Yeah, and I just faked it till I made it. And that event, I got a 5-star review
Good.
and a refer, or a guest booked me to do their wedding about a year later.
Wow.
So
I love that story just because after meeting DJs, like, that is such a roundabout way of playing music live. And some people are probably wondering, like, why not just do one Spotify, Andrew? Can you go into a teeny bit of detail about the minutia of that?
Yeah, I mean, you could get into it, but I just didn't want it to be awkward pauses between songs. So it's just like you could have one playing, you could fade it down a little bit and fade in the other, just a little crossfade. So,
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew I didn't want awkward silences. I was at least that good with music, and I had obviously music background from Virginia Man.
Right. Your band days. Yeah, and that's huge. So, let's go back a little bit further. So, like you said, you were in a band. We're really curious about how you got to where you are now. Mm-hmm. You're out of college. You find a job at Boosterthon first.
Yeah, I guess we could go into the full job history.
Yeah,
but essentially, I was the kid growing up, and especially the college kid that had no idea what I wanted to do. I had like a lot of different interests, but not like one thing that I always envied people who were like, they knew from the get-go that they wanted to be a nurse, a doctor, military, a scientist, engineer, whatever. I was not that. I changed majors in college multiple times. I don't even remember what they all were, but they were like, some of them were off the wall and they were not within the same field at all. And so I landed on being an English major for literally the reason of it's general enough, and this is a weird reason, but I wanted to force myself to become more of a reader, because whenever I did read a book, I liked it a lot, and I really liked literature and the depth and the artistry in it.
You just need some more motivation to read more books.
Yeah, and so I thought that was going to happen with my course, and then I think by the end of it, I could count on one, certainly 2 hands, how many books I actually read.
Sure.
Which is not what you want for an English major, but I did well with the classes. I just did not care enough, because part of the reason was I was just doing too much at the time, but I was in Virginia Man. I don't know if we need to check that.
I think that's fine. I think it just made a little sound.
We'll have the intern check the camera there.
Yeah, Jamie, check that camera.
Anyway,
our man Wes is our camera guy today, and it made a sound, so we wanted to make sure it was still recording. So
are we good, Wes? Okay,
cool. So English major.
Let me finish that thought. Yeah. So during college, I was focused on music. I was playing in Virginia Man at the time, and shout out to them. They are about to drop a new album, which is going to be dope, and they're still killing it. But that ate up most of my time and energy. Also leading Young Life and working a job. So I didn't care about my degree. So anyway, this is a long story to get to where we're going. I was a kid who just didn't know what I wanted to do, and that applied when I graduated. I just tried different jobs. So Booster, I got into school fundraising, which also was my intro to kind of emceeing as well, because we did big events like pep rallies and fun runs, and I would MC those all the time.
Yeah.
A little bit of DJing, just like Spotify DJ as well for those events, but nothing like actual disc jockey DJing. And then I dabbled with Young Life on staff in Fairfax, and then did not like that. Well, I did like it, but it wasn't the best job fit, and then became a teacher. And so I was a teacher for 3 years.
And not English. What'd you teach?
Yeah, math, which is interesting. And it was weird, because it was just like a call from a random principal who had, a friend, an old coworker referred them to me. And so I ended up saying yes to that. And that was a good fit for the time. I really liked working with middle schoolers, which is not a thing you hear people say often, but
they're fun.
They
are fun. They got all the energy you need.
One of the things I have as a person and as a DJ, and I guess in my personality, is just some chaotic energy. I love that.
Sure.
And so middle schoolers kind of, I don't know.
Bring that out. It works well.
Yeah.
I also taught too for a while. And I always tell people like the difference between high school and middle school, and you can already guess mostly what to expect. Like high school as a teacher, I could have one of the best lesson plans of my life. Like I thought about it for an hour, did some writing, did some research, this and that. And you release it to the class, and it doesn't really go that well. A kid asks you for a pencil, someone's falling asleep. In middle school, I didn't need the lesson plan at all. I could just show up and start talking about whatever I needed to and get their energy going with the right amount of energy that I reflected to them. They were ready to go.
Sure.
Now that energy could go in the wrong direction very quickly with them.
Yes, that's
but
true.
That's what I took from high school versus middle school.
Yeah. They're primed to be engaged.
Yeah.
However, it's sometimes that's good and sometimes that's bad, like you said.
Yep. You got to utilize it correctly.
Yeah.
And obviously they're a lot of energy, a lot of emotion.
Yep.
But I found it really fun.
Yeah. So I would say, I liked it a lot, but I'm still kind of weaving back to like how I ended up, quitting 3 years later and doing what I did. You could say the same thing. It was just an exhausting job, and I'm sure there are a lot of teachers in the community that will relate to that. And I feel like if you don't know you're called to it, and that's a weird language to use, but if you don't really feel like it's the perfect fit for you and something you're so passionate about, it's something where you can burn out really quick. And I think I didn't burn out that quick, and I probably could have stayed a lot longer if it wasn't for doing 2 jobs at the same time. So I definitely was a person who liked it enough that I could have been a longer-term teacher in the right world. But yeah, so I accidentally got into DJing. My friend reached out to me like the year before I started teaching with that first gig that I told you about, that first wedding. So I was doing very infrequent gigs when I started teaching, and I was not thinking about doing it full time by any means. It's just a little nice spare change. Yeah. And it like really scratched an itch of when I quit the band and not having...
you'd left the band at that point.
Yeah, I had a whole of artistry and like music and performance in me that band was, and creative expression and all that. So I really missed that. And DJing wasn't the same as playing guitar live or writing music but it gave me a live energy feel from a crowd. And there is a lot of musicality involved in mixing and picking the right songs and creating the vibe of the event. And so even though it wasn't good when I started, it was something that was within my wheelhouse and something that I liked doing and was growing and getting better at. So it was just very part-time. I was teaching, I was focusing on teaching, and then it just slowly got bigger. Like I just kept getting referrals from events. Eventually I was doing like 30 weddings. The next year, something for this other company. And then it came to a point of, okay, if I'm going to work this hard, should I just do it on my own, and would I make a lot more? So eventually got to that, and that was about 2 years ago that I had to make that decision. And I was really uncertain because it was nice that people were just handing me gigs. I didn't have to hustle. All I had to do was respond to text and say, yes, I'm open to that wedding. And then I'd show up. I didn't even have to have my own equipment. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, so it was really easy, and I was making like $600 per wedding, which at the time, especially on a teacher salary, seemed like a lot. But now, based on what I make, it's not much.
It's nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not definitely not enough for the actual owner of the company now.
Yep. So then 2 years ago, I said, okay, I'm just going to start my own thing. And at that time, I wasn't cutting out these other partnerships. I was still saying yes to these other DJ companies offering me events. But I was like, okay, I'll also try to book my own in addition to the ones I'm already doing. And then within the year, it just grew a lot faster than I expected to. And then by, I guess, the beginning of this year, I have been doing only my own gigs.
Right.
And it's just gotten much bigger than I would have expected. We ended year 1, which was last year, with about $60K revenue. And again, while I was teaching, very part-time.
While teaching, okay.
And then this year, the first half of the year I was still teaching. So I went from January to whenever summer, so end of May or whenever teaching. And then from summer to this point, I've been full-time. So half of the year full-time, and we're doing over $200K this year, which is pretty sweet.
Huge.
But once I
How many gigs is that?
We did 100 something this year.
100 something?
100
Okay.
something, like 110.
That's really impressive. I mean, what's just crazy about that is that's on average more than 2 a week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The only reason it works is because it's not just me, which is nice. So part of the way I'm making revenue is booking myself, and I usually do that first until my schedule's full. But then that's where Trey again has done some events with us, and then Byron and a couple other guys and stuff. So I'm starting to book other DJs as well.
Mm-hmm. That is a ton of gigs. I never knew it was over 100.
Yeah, over 100.
I mean, 2 a week is just ridiculous.
Most of them weddings, and then a lot of them aren't even in the books. Like anything small that's like in town, I don't even put them on the book. So it's probably more than like 130 or something like that.
Yeah, and you had mentioned you do mostly weddings, and then you just said there's some other small town gigs. Outside of weddings, what are some other events you're working with?
The chamber has been like community stuff has been really fun. So that's big. So corporate events, I don't know, nonprofit events have been really fun.
You just did the I think it was through EDT with Fredericksburg, the tree lighting.
Yeah, funny enough, I was just reflecting the other day of I was going through all my gigs of the year and just kind of going through the highlights, and that was one of my absolute favorites. But yeah, we did the tree lighting downtown at, what's that park called?
Was it the one by the river?
Riverfront. Yeah, I don't know why I couldn't think of that. But Riverfront Park, they just did the second annual tree lighting. And I think the first time it was there, but either way, it was a really cool event where I got to bring in my bigger system. And there were, I don't know, between 1,000, 2,000 people in and out of that park during that time. But that was so fun, just bringing Christmas vibes and cheer and emceeing that, as well as playing background music.
And it, like you said, it's community, which I love. Like that's my favorite thing, especially as a chamber guy. And with Next Gen, like we just want to bring people together that our community. It's all mostly local people, I'd imagine, we're at that event. Yeah. Like 99% of people all coming together in downtown. Like,
and
amazing.
It's so fun when you most weddings I do, they're total strangers and I never see them or their people ever again, and most of them are in DC or Richmond or wherever the wedding is, not usually Fredericksburg. But a community event like that tree lighting was fun because we saw people from trivia. I host trivia at Wild Hair on Thursday nights, and we got to see them. We got to see the Darcys come through, who were like teacher friends. And so you just see so many people that you know and care about, and it's kind of just more fun engaging with them, and I don't know.
Yeah, it's a different experience because, like you said, weddings, like most of the time you don't know anyone there except for the couple themselves, which I know you always take great pride in getting to know them, their soundtrack and everything, but it's different because they're not all these people in the crowd. You don't know them. Yeah. So it's good to have those community events. Yep. On the other end of the spectrum, you had said there's some, there's weddings, there's the community events. What are some of the nicer events you've done or venues you've been to? I know you've mentioned some in DC.
Yeah, I don't know how interesting of a topic that is based on my limited experience doing it, but we are definitely trying to get more into the luxury market in DC, but we've done, some of those 5-star hotels. I honestly don't know them off the top of my head. Okay. I mean, some in Richmond too. And, yeah, they're I like doing them a lot because you make more for them. They are a lot harder. They're a lot more work. So you have to bring a crew and have more equipment. But yeah, they pay well. But also I've just noticed that when you make people dress up and treat an event like it's an event that matters, not that lower budget things don't matter, but when guests have that mindset going into it, they are going to party like no other. No one leaves early at a black tie event, or very few, unless you absolutely have to. But usually the party goes all night and people come to really drink, which is, again, you don't have to do that either, but they just go hard. That's the experience. And
if you spent time to get dressed, you're going to spend time at the event.
Yeah, people just treat it differently for whatever reason. They kind of have this idea of like, oh, you paid hundreds of dollars for me to be invited and to come, so I'm not going to, I'm going to dress right, I'm going to party, I'm going to celebrate. And so I think there's a different mentality.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with it being, you were saying those events are like harder, and I know like all events are going to have some difficulty to it, but looking at the business side, I know your business operates a lot differently than most small businesses. Like you're a company of one essentially, but what are the biggest challenges that you felt running a business?
There's a lot. I would say Definitely multitasking. When I was teaching, I thought if as long as I quit this and I have my full Monday through Friday wide open, I'll be good to go and I'll get everything done. So now I have essentially unlimited time being a single guy and like not having a day job. I do
You hear that, ladies?
I do have another part-time job with my church, but it's very minimal hours wise. So the hard part is just all the different things I have to think about. You have sales, you have, like you wanting to grow that part of the company, but you also have your finances, your bookkeeping. You have to manage your current clients and make sure you're responding to those emails, and that you're ready for all of your events. And so it's just wearing so many different hats, not to mention, what was I saying? Equipment. Like I have a storage unit with lots of equipment and making sure you have what you need for your event. So there's just so many different things I have to do, and that's a challenge. And so one thing I want to do 2025 and
Some goals. Yeah. What are they?
yeah, is to outsource some things and to hire people. Like social media is another one that I'm like bad at. Not because I'm necessarily bad at it. I just don't take the time to do it. And it's just another thing to think about. So that's, in a nutshell, that's the hardest.
Gotcha. So your goal going forward is, one, multitask better, but two, you said just hire some people.
Yeah, to outsource things, and I want to free myself up to focus on the things I really want to focus on, which, and I should really define what those are, but I think sales is something that I'm good at.
I mean, it seems like you have no problem if you have 100 gigs a year. It doesn't seem like you need more of that, but you need some help on the back end.
The back end, yeah. I definitely don't like keeping up with all my emails. That's tough, but yeah, we'll see. I don't know yet. I just want to do less, have more headspace, and focus on doing good events. And
well, I mean, me knowing you personally, like, when was the last Saturday you even had off? I'm sure it would be nice to have one back.
This coming Saturday, I think, which is going to be crazy. But that's only because I have a Friday and a Sunday. But yes, usually,
so you're one Saturday off.
Yeah.
You work Friday and Sunday.
No, I honestly don't remember the last Saturday. It probably would have been July. It would have been, but even then, I had a busier July than I expected. So yeah, Saturdays are gone. That's part of That's part of the thing.
I guess so. Well,
Yeah.
no, who needs Saturdays?
Yeah.
Everyone's relaxing or partying. You can make money. Good for you.
I love the conversation kind of about the community, because I feel like that's where you and I have overlap with our jobs. I'm passionate about, the local events and giving back, like the tree lighting and some other ones we do. And that's obviously what you do at the chamber and Next Gen. So I'm just curious how you see, because your job is to what? Tell me if I get this right. For Next Gen, your job is to kind of foster a young adult, young professional environment to be thriving in Fredericksburg, because right now, or prior in the past years, it's kind of just felt like the community of young professionals hasn't been there, or at least it's not connected. Like, there are young people, but we don't go out enough. We don't connect to each other enough. We don't do business together enough. So your job and goal is to kind of bring them together and make it more thriving. Am I right?
With Next Gen, correct. That's very spot on. There's a bit more, of course, that you can always share, but no, a large goal of Next Gen is that we've done some demographics, some surveying, some studies all about this region. As you know, like, it's not just Fredericksburg. We're surrounded by these counties that are quite populated. If you look at our overall population of this of the zip codes, it's PD 16. We are not bigger than Richmond by any means, but we are not that much smaller. I think it's by like 20% smaller. So, like, we're really...
Are you counting the counties around Richmond and the counties around Fredericksburg?
Yes. So, like, it's really not that drastically different. It's just we're a lot more spread out, and age-wise, demographically, we're a bit older. And we have found that a lot of our young professionals are commuting north to DC, and sometimes even commuting to Richmond. So it's been, like you said, like, a lot of them are just not coming out. Like, we exist, we just don't know each other super well.
Yeah.
And that's where Next Gen comes in. So we're doing a lot of events, one, to connect these people, but also to kind of grow together and give them opportunities, such as, like, you're on the advisory council now, giving you the opportunity to have some leadership in the community, helping us schedule a soiree, helping us with entertainment as well, of course. But, we have speakers every so often too. We heard from Kevin Breen this year about him starting his business, which was a really cool story, by the way. We'll have to podcast with him one day. So there's a lot that we're trying to accomplish, and right now it's all kind of set on our soiree coming up.
Yeah, I want to ask about that in a second. Dude, I'm going to interview you now. This is great.
Tables have turned.
The tables have turned.
You can do that. You can ask me questions.
Yeah, I have them right here. So
let me get my
I've
water.
This. I just
you
tell you
written them down?
Yeah, dude. That's why. Why do you think my laptop's here? Okay, so we've both lived in Fredericksburg for a long time. You moved in 2018, and I've been here since college. I went to Mary Wash and graduated in 2017, so I've been here since before that. I remember when you first moved to Fredericksburg, you felt like it was hard to find a young adult community, right? And it didn't feel as exciting, and like there was enough going on. And correct me if I'm wrong about any of that. Part of that, I'm sure you were just newer to town as well. But I personally feel like it's changed in the past 6 years. How have you noticed Fredericksburg changing from 2018 to now?
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good point. It definitely has.
Yeah.
It is 100% more lively downtown and around the area. I think there's a lot more going on. There's more events.
And I felt like that too, but I've always just wondered if that's my perception because I've just been more involved in the past year since I have more free time, and living with you has made me more social and connected than other people I've lived with. So you think that's definitely true, not just our
it's
experience?
definitely true.
Okay.
Now, I'm always curious because I don't know what research there is to back that up and if it's just anecdotal, but I've definitely noticed there's a lot more to do than normal. I was just talking with some people at the Fred Nats, and they're just telling me about their schedule. Like, I have to do this on Thursday night, Friday night I have this, and then I have a gala. There's another networking event. There's a concert. And I'm like, seriously? And people say there's nothing to do in Fredericksburg?
I wish there were more concerts.
Yeah, we could use a bigger music scene.
Someone needs to open a new venue and make it happen. But yes.
The Fredericksburg Square is opening back up, I've been told.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So either way, there's something has changed. I don't know exactly what it is. I think it's just natural economic growth. I don't want to say Next Gen's changed anything. I'm trying my best to provide those circles to people. But no, there's definitely a big change.
Yeah, I feel like the ones I've noticed are like there's definitely more places downtown that are like cool hangout spots, right? So like Wild Hair is one that I go to a lot, but then the whole area where the publisher is, and even like Sedona, that whole strip was like, I don't know when all that blew up, but that was
when I moved here. It wasn't even here.
Yeah,
and I only moved in 2018, and like from the ice cream shop, or Sedona, I guess. But after that's the ice cream shop, Blue Cow. From them all the way down to the publisher, that's all new developments.
Yep.
That parking garage, it's all in the past 6 years.
We got Cheeky's, one of your favorite spots.
Yeah.
So there's
Cheeky's.
I think you're right. So there's more like, places to go, but on top of that, more events.
Yeah, there's events popping up left and right. Like if you really, it's not like New York City where like every single day there's 12 different things to do.
Yeah.
Like there's that big trend of the celebrity lookalike meetups happening.
Yeah.
But that's never going to happen in Fredericksburg, I don't think. But
never say never.
Never say never. Yeah, forever is a long time. I think we are moving in that direction. Like there's stuff to do now. We have a lot of exciting businesses here. We have a lot of exciting people here. And a lot of them are young, and I think that demographic is slowly changing.
Yeah, so I feel like that too because of my experience, but I do talk to some people who are either new to town sometimes or came from a bigger city. One of my last Hinge dates told me they were in that situation where they were like newer to town, and they had things to say of it isn't that vibrant and there's nothing to do, and it's hard to meet people my age or their age. And so what would you say to hearing that?
Well, I would tell them moving to a new town is always going to kind of feel challenging.
Yeah.
You can get even a big city that does have a ton of stuff to do. You can get very much lost in that very quickly. I would say come out to one of your trivia nights. I'll introduce you to 12 people that will be your friend. But come out to just find some people. And I've always found that is one of the best ways to make friends is just kind of like group-based events.
Yeah.
One thing Next Gen's going to push this year, a couple people, I don't know whose original idea it was, but I know Sophia has been really pushing it. Next Gen gives back. And that is all about, we go out as a group of Next Gen professionals now that we're all kind of friends and knowing each other, and we go to the SPCA, we go to the Friends of the Rappahannock, and we do something together. It's a really great way to meet people and make friends and give back. So I would say to anyone that's moving and your hinge date, just to...
We're not dating anymore.
Oh, man. To just try that out. There's definitely things out there. It may not be, I don't know where they're coming from.
Yeah.
We are not a big happening central spot yet, but we're close to it.
I would say the same thing. I think it's all just like the angle you're looking at it in your perspective. If you came from New York City or something like that, obviously it's going to feel lame. But if you're someone who remembers when Fredericksburg had nothing going on, it feels exciting. So I think it's all just perspective. And you're right. I think the communities are there. You just have to insert yourself in and get out there. Yeah.
You got to check those communities. I mean, the Fred Nats have a huge community now.
Yep.
Like you can go to a game alone and there's people there that you'll probably recognize or have friends there.
Yep. Love that, dude. So, as the professional host and interviewer here, I'll just keep going for a second.
Professional.
But the last thing I wanted to kind of go was like, as you're the vision creator for Next Gen, what is your goal for, Fredericksburg in general, but also just the community that you're trying to develop with the Next Gen, and then let's say 1 year and then 5 years or 3 or 5 years?
I would say, well, this upcoming year, our Soiree is coming up. I want to sell that thing out. We actually are pretty close to doing that already. Tickets are going fast. I would say that, and then just other events similar. I want to have the best events for young professionals in town. Like they were saying, what your friend who came into town, like what to do. Like I want Next Gen to be that thing.
Yeah.
That people they're attracted to it. They want to be invited to it, to be exclusive. It's inclusive. Everyone's invited. We all come in. But I want people to feel like it's a very special thing, and it is. We put a ton of work into it.
Yeah, the way I was thinking about it is how, like, we're talking about the communities exist in Fredericksburg already, whether you go to a trivia night at Red Dragon or you're part of a run group or something else. There's so many different groups that you can be involved in. I think it would be cool if Next Gen was like the one that's the most well-known, most inclusive and exclusive sort of like special of what you're saying, but inclusive in the fact that everyone knows about it and everyone wants to join it and the membership grows. But like if someone's new to town and they're a professional, that their first thought of like, okay, I need to connect with people my age and I need community. My hope would be Next Gen would be like one of the top spots that they would go gravitate towards.
Yeah, absolutely. And with 505 being so open, I think it's a very good way to come find us and meet people very quickly. And the cool thing is too, even if you don't know us at these 505s, everyone there is kind of on board with the whole networking thing where most people don't know each other and they want to meet people.
Yeah.
So we've dabbled around with the goal of like, all right, you're here, you have to go meet 5 or 6 people or something.
Yeah.
I never want to force that, but a lot of people just do it. Like they know that these are new friends to make or new acquaintances, new colleagues, new connections, go for it.
Yeah. He heard it. We need our intern.
Yeah. And it's been over 30, so I'm curious if this camera is still recording.
Yeah, we might want to check on the other one too. I'm glad we kept Wes.
We're wrapping up though, Mr. Wes.
Mr. Wes, well, I got a couple more. It's dead? Oh. What do you mean? Is it like... Okay. Great.
We'll find out.
So I was going to say one more thing and I forgot.
Another question.
Oh, no. I was just going to say, too, like, I want it to be a networking thing. Like, for those of you who don't know what 505 is, it's, how often is it again?
We do monthly.
Monthly networking events for young professionals or people that go to Next Gen. And it open to anyone, right? Doesn't it have to be Next Gen?
It doesn't have to be, no.
Okay. So Next Gen, because it's associated with the Chamber of Commerce, which is obviously your employer, it can have this like businessy feel to it, and it is that too. But my hope would be that it's also just a thing that people know is really fun,
more casual.
Like the cornhole tournament's a perfect example.
Cornhole is perfect, and that's so fun. Yeah, creative events like that, cornhole, like I hope people see that and are like, dang, I wanted to be there.
Yeah, and then that leads me into the Soiree, and that's the event we're both planning together, and I know that our goal is for it to be fun, and for this is the first time we're doing it, so we're brainstorming through the lens of like, how can we make it so, like this year we have to sell people on the idea of it, right? But next year we want people to already know what it is and for it to sell itself because of the energy that we brought in the community that was created there. So I hope that event, but anything Next Gen does is a place of connection that's just fun as well as beneficial.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, it's beneficial. You can make friends, you can make business acquaintances, but it's fun. I want to have really great creative events with cornhole and the Soiree, and Soiree coming up. Like, we have one of the best DJs in Fredericksburg, the best DJ in Fredericksburg. And
shout out to my other DJs in Fredericksburg.
Yeah, and then they're great. But then just growing in Northern Virginia and having high quality experience. The Publisher's a sweet venue. It's brand new, which makes me excited. It's a soiree, so we're not calling it black tie. We're kind of working around the language of what to call it, but we want it to be
black tie encouraged for
black
sure.
Tie encouraged.
If you got a black tie, pull it out.
Yeah, I'm wearing a nice formal outfit, but I can't remember the term that we landed on that we liked. But we want you to look good. We look fancy.
I gave you guys the whole spiel of at the fancy events that people go the hardest and dance and have a good time. And so that's the vibe we're gonna bring to the soiree.
Yeah, look good, have fun. We'll have some awards going out too. We have Young Professional of the Year, Entrepreneur of the Year. Again, this is Young Professional based, and as well Community Impact.
Yep.
And to express what that third one is a little bit more, it's someone who does a large social impact, whether they're helping creating events, whether they're helping out a lot with nonprofits or charities, or they give a ton of funds out there. So that could be a lot of things. Can
we just give the full elevator pitch from the beginning? What is the soiree? When is it? Who's invited? What should they expect?
You're invited.
Yes.
It's January 24th at the Publisher at 7:00. We're going to go till roughly around 10 or later.
Yep. And what is it?
What is it is a great question. So this is it's a soiree. We will have food. We will have drinks. We will have entertainment. We are expecting, like I said, we want you to look good. It's the dress code I'm going to start saying. The idea is we hand out these awards to show the best young professionals in our area. Like I said, we do have a young demographic, and we want to highlight who they are.
And who's invited?
Who's invited?
Yeah.
To be more serious than just saying you're invited, we want anyone that is interested in young professionals and our business community to be there. Ideally, we're going for our next gen crowd, but we want people that want to engage with that too.
Yep. Love that. Okay, so fancy event with food and drink at the Publisher. How many people are we bringing to this thing?
We can fit about 80.
Yep.
And like I said, I think we've sold about 40 so far, and we have a month and a half left. So I have no doubt that we will be full.
Yeah, that's info that I already had. I just wanted to share that because it's going to be first come, first serve. So if you want to be part of it, let us know sooner than later.
Yeah, it's a small-ish event in terms of space because we can choose places that are larger. We want to be at the Publisher because it's a bit nicer, and we want you there.
Yep. And then the last thing I'll just say is, as the DJ for the event, but also kind of on the board of planning it, our goal is, like we said, to make it fun. So we're brainstorming ideas of like small little mixers and games and different ways to do music and dancing, possibly with some, I don't know if this is going to happen yet, but like there's some ballroom dancing or something that'll be engaging and we'll get people involved. So stay tuned. That's not a promise, but we're thinking through ideas to make it a really...
It is a promise that it's entertaining.
Yes,
but it's not a promise we're going to make you ballroom dance. Andrew, you did the Boot Scoon Boogie Fest, though.
Yeah.
You can make them do that.
Yeah, we did some line dancing. So my job, again, is to make it super fun and for everyone who goes, the exclusive 80, to have a really good night. So yeah, man. That's the goal.
Yeah. Well, we'll get wrapped up here, I guess. Thanks again for coming out.
I have one more question.
Oh, you have another?
I have one more question.
Is it an important one?
Yeah, it's super important.
Okay.
What is your highlight from 2024?
Oh, that's great.
Work or personal, whatever.
Personal.
Let's just do our quick 2024 reflection. We're almost at the end of the year.
Yeah. I'll say work and
Okay,
personal.
great.
So personal. Actually, no, I'll do work first. I would say just getting really well established into the chamber and the community and establishing then next gen. I think people that are involved with the chamber know what it is right now and are excited about it. And we have a great team. We have some great sponsors that are motivated and engaged with it, and some members that are really engaged with it too. So I feel very accomplished there, and I'm excited to see what it turns into. If I had to say a single moment, it would be that cornhole tournament.
Yeah.
Once all of the boards were laid out with all of our different teams and sponsors, and we're just able to get the video of every single team, it was just a sigh of relief. It was a lot of work to get there, but it was beautiful. It was so much fun seeing all the boards. It was so much satisfaction and all these different people coming together. Personal would probably be just a couple of vacations I took. I went in January, so it's almost been a year. I went to London and I watched Chelsea play. I watched the Washington Spirit play a lot of really crucial games. It's been a very good year in sports and travel. So seeing all my teams just have a great year. And then just make memories in Europe and Amsterdam and Brussels and London was the best. I went to San Diego for the first time too. Beautiful, cool city in America. It's awesome. What about you, brother?
Heck yeah. Yeah, I would say work. There are like a lot of different things I could say. A lot happened this year. But I feel like I had a good end to my school year, which was fun. I don't know what I would say about that, but went out on a high note with the kids, and then their work stuff. There was just so many really good weddings. Josh Kasabian's was really recent, but that one was a lot of fun, and some of the higher end ones in DC were so fun. And Tori and John's and Boone, North Carolina, that one was really fun. So just like some really amazing weddings that I feel like could not have gone better.
Yeah, that
was fun. And you've had that experience now too, like when everything just feels smooth and the celebration is just top tier.
Yeah, every so often you get that perfect event where just everything goes right.
Yep. So yeah, a lot of good things there, and then just the fact that finances, I was able to quit my job and just not be worried about it all.
Yeah, I would love to emphasize that, because the scariest thing I think for most entrepreneurs or people who want to become one is what's going to happen when I lose all of my benefits, all of my stability, and you go for it and you did it. And like you said, you are not struggling.
Yeah, and knock on wood, it continues to kind of be easy, but it's just grown a lot faster than I expected, and have not missed that paycheck all that much, which is cool. So that's awesome. But I would say, yeah, my highlight of the year personally would be when I quit teaching. I just went on summer hard. Like I didn't do anything work related besides the few events that I had to manage and
nothing
do. And I honestly kind of trying to remember. I went to Turkey with my sister. I got to ride in hot air balloons. That was crazy, dude.
Cappadocia.
That was How you say that? I should know that. But doing hot air balloons was a dream of mine since I was a child. And me and my siblings, we've always joked that we were going to get hot air balloons because we've always had that vision together. And I don't know how that started, but there's also this Owl City song called Hot Air Balloon that's dumb and like really cheesy, but we listened to it.
Sounds like Owl City.
Yeah, it sounds like Owl City. But we said when we were middle school that one day we would be in hot air balloons and listen to that song. And so my sister and I hadn't talked about it, but I remember that right before we were about to get picked up from our hostel.
Nice.
And I almost made us late, and she was pissed at me, but I ran back in to grab my AirPods because I was like, oh, we got to do this. And so I had a really surreal moment with my sister, who's one of my best friends, and getting to experience that was surreal. But yeah, it's the whole summer of vacay and travel and doing nothing, man. That was a good just like reset for my soul. So that's probably a boring answer.
Good.
Everyone's answer is summer, but
summer.
Yeah.
No, dude, I think that's cool too, especially signifying like kind of the change of your life. I mean, that's probably your biggest step ever in your career. I mean, to throw it all away. Not throw it all away. That sounds dramatic, but to completely go for that new job. Obviously, with teaching, they give you a contract that goes a little bit further with your benefits, but still, I mean, that was a big change. And to celebrate it with a vacation and all of that. No, I totally get it.
And the other reason I think it was really good for me is there were like certain months of the year that I became obsessive about the business and the growth and the grind and I could keep making more money, all this stuff. And so summer was just like a huge detox, and I still need to do that, periodically, even now, of just reminding myself that work exists so that you can live and not the other way around, not living to work. And it was becoming very tempting to live to work.
Right.
And so having a prolonged period of I wasn't even thinking about the business
That's good.
was awesome, and just like a good detox for my soul. And that's also around the time that I got involved in Common Ground, which is the church I go to, and I work part-time for them now, which is amazing, and that's just good for my soul too, because again, they pay me, but it's not like I'm not in it for the money. It's more just something that I'm passionate about. And
Sure.
so yeah, business stuff, great. It's just I need to be reminded every once in a while that it's not everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And I bet that struggle is even harder when you own the business, to focus on your life, because the whole business is you.
Yeah.
And, if I'm able to plug off from my job very easily.
Yeah.
And when I'm at home, and you don't get that, because every moment someone could be emailing you about a gig the next following week. So
it's
tough.
hard to turn it off too, because like every time I get a text or an email or a lead, it's like that could be another $2,000 to $4,000, and do I respond to it even though it's 8:00 at night, and get them engaged?
I need a work phone.
Yeah, I know, right? Or do I just like chill? And like this summer when I was off, I definitely lost a lot of gigs and work, but I didn't care. I was just like, okay, this maybe I lost 10 grand worth of revenue we can finish. But it comes to a point where you just gotta realize that you're just gonna live your life, and you're gonna make how much money you make, and that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's totally fine. You only need as much money as you want. So
yeah, exactly.
That's great. Well, cool, man. Thank you so much for coming in today. I think we hit everything.
Yeah.
I'm super excited for the Upchurch of Inco, and what's next. And I know you said a big goal of you is to grow with more people next year, and excited to see who you get on board. And I'm excited for our soiree, and I'm just very lucky that you're a part of it and helping us. I've no doubt that it's going to be entertaining because of you.
Yeah, dude. Heck yeah. Well, I'm excited to be part of it, and we'll keep brainstorming. But yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course, man. Everyone, thanks for listening. Again, don't forget about January 24th. Our soiree is coming up. Thanks to all of our sponsors for Next Gen. We got Community Title Network, Redco, Hub International, and Price & Rich Associates. They're all really great people and are all invested in Next Gen. You can always reach out to me or Andrew. His socials and everything will be tagged in this, so make sure if you want to DJ any entertainment, you talk to him. All right, take it easy, y'all.
Peace.